Hi, this is Alex Cosper with PlaylistResearch.com. I am with Suzi Arden today, a country music legend. Suzi, thanks for joining me today.
Hello, Alex. It's a pleasure.
And you just turned 80 years old.
I did.
And
Isn't that amazing? I can't hardly believe it.
So this is 2010. You came to Sacramento to do the Western Swing Hall of Fame. But you did a performance.
I did 4 of them.
Okay.
I worked with Howard Edwards and his gang, and my sideman for years got honored last year, Bobby Lee DeWillis, in the Hall of Fame. I wasn't honored this year. It's something they have to prepare for, I guess, but I was honored that they invited me.
Well, that's nice.
So it was fun. It gets me out of the everyday thing that I do. I retired, let's see, how long ago did I retire? See, in 2000, we did our 30-year reunion of the Suzi Arden show, and 5 of my people were there, and the other 5, except my daughter, had passed away. And so we made an album called 30-Year Reunion, the Suzi Arden Show. And it was off the cuff, and it was fun.
Like a live album.
Well, something like that.
Okay.
Some things our engineer changed, but most of it was off the cuff.
Well, Suzi, let's talk about, before we get deep into the history here, and it's very important history, you were the first artist ever to play the electric 12-string guitar issued by Rickenbacker.
I was.
1963 was the year that came out. George Harrison of the Beatles got his first in 64, and he was the second one to get the guitar. So you beat the Beatles.
I got the original. I guess you'd call it the mock-up. What do you call the original? But Francis Hall, who owned Rickenbacker, his son John runs it now. But he was a mighty man and a gentleman and a kind man. And I had met him through Jimmy Bryant, who was a great guitarist. People in the country music will know him right off. I met him through Jimmy Bryant, and I went out to Santa Ana and viewed his equipment and played his equipment. And I bought 2 guitars, 1 bass, and at the time I was playing a Martin electric, which was, I thought, pretty choice, and all the rest of the stuff that we had. And Francis and his wife would come to Las Vegas, and I had a suite there, and they'd stay there, and they'd check all my equipment, and make sure things, his new creations, he would bring, and we'd try them out on stage and see how they sound and see how they would magnify the Suzi Arden show. And he bought this, look here, Suzi, he brought this 12-string to me, and I thought, my gosh, it's beautiful. I said, can I play it? So he said, sure. So we tuned it all up and went up on stage, and I played it all day, the 12-string. And he says, well, I'm going to go make one for you. I said, I'm going to keep this one.
The original.
This is mine. I was so spoiled by it by now.
And that was a handcrafted guitar?
I assume it was. I mean, I don't know, but I assume it was.
But it was the first.
It was the first.
And before that, there were acoustic 12 strings, but no electric 12 strings, or what was the deal?
Not any that I was aware of. I have very small hands, and that Rickenbacker just fit me, and I could fret, I could pick it out, I could do all kinds of things, even with the 12 string.
Because they make these big full chords. These sounds like 100 guitar players playing at once.
So beautiful. And the octave sounds in the strings was really nice.
That's the opening chord of A Hard Day's Night.
A Hard Day's Night.
And also the Byrds doing the Bob Dylan song, Mr. Tambourine Man.
My gosh.
That helped popularize it. And it created a whole new sound in the 60s, and you were there first.
I was there. That was me.
But you were doing country music. So what got you into country music? I know that you come from a country music family in Virginia, the Darden family.
The Darden family. I was the youngest of 6 children, and they were all musical. They all played instruments and sang. My mother and father also. We had a very normal life, but music was a large part of our life. And my mother tells me that when I was 2 years old, that I knew every lyric, every song that we did, and did it in harmony, could do it in harmony. And it kind of blew me away because I've never seen a child could do that. But then I get to thinking, I had talented siblings older than I doing this all the time. But that's my story. That's exactly what happened. And so I sang with them, and when I was 5, my dad says, I'm going to have you play fiddle, get a violin. So I got a little half-size fiddle and started taking violin lessons. And when I got educated enough to where I really knew what I was doing, I was playing fiddle tunes anyway before that. But I was playing with my family, and we always played with big shows that came into our area in Norfolk, the big arenas and all of that. And I made, we had an engagement with Roy Acuff when he was in the height of his fame, and met him and all of his gang, and we played also on the stage with him. And then backstage, Roy Acuff taught me the Mockingbird.
Okay.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, Roy Acuff is a legend in
That's
country
cool.
music. Yeah.
I'm a little old snotty-nosed kid. He's very patient. He's a nice man, Roy Acuff. And then later on, Clyde Moody did the Shenandoah Waltz and some of the country music hits. Do you remember Clyde?
I'm not familiar with him.
He was a Nashville person, and he did real well. And he had a fiddler with him called Chubby Wise, and he played this Orange Blossom Special.
I know that song.
And I said, "Woo! I really want to learn to do that."
Yeah, that's a
And so
complex song, right?
He sat down and showed me how to play the Orange Blossom Special.
It's amazing.
So I learned that from him. If it's wrong, blame him.
I know the version in the Urban Cowboy soundtrack. Someone does that version on there of Orange Blossom Special. Great fiddle song.
Every fiddler, they
Yeah.
always want you to play Orange Blossom Special, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But
You were like a DJ at a country radio station, right?
at WTAR, it wasn't country.
Oh, it wasn't?
Wasn't
Okay.
country.
But you were a kid, right?
I was a kid, and they hired me to be a DJ, country music DJ.
How'd
And
they find you?
I was the first one. Well, for my
Your family?
family, yes.
Okay.
I was the first country music disc jockey in Norfolk, Virginia, and all that area. And I was the first female jockey, period. And I did that for, I can't remember, quite a few years, because that developed into when television came on. We were the first live television show, my
Wow.
family.
That parallels a lady who grew up here in Sacramento named Rose Maddox.
Rose Maddox was my dear friend.
Really? You know her?
You betcha.
Wow.
Rose.
She grew up in Sacramento and was the first DJ, like female DJ at KFBK, and then she had her own family show on TV, I think.
Oh,
and-
I'm telling you, Rose and the Maddox brothers, when they come back east, they'd come in these big, and I'm so easily impressed, I'll tell you, but boy, they'd come in these Western outfits like Bob Wills, and I love Bob Wills.
Yeah.
And like Bob Wills, and they'd come up in these big long Cadillacs, black, and I'd be all eyeballs, and we'd be playing the bill too, because you have a lot of used to have a lot of outdoor show places back east.
Mhm.
So here would come Rose and the Maddox brothers, and I thought, wow, there's Rose Maddox, my gosh, and she'd get on stage and open her mouth, and the whole world was music. She just had she's like Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
You
Well,
could
you told me Patsy Cline and you were great friends.
Yeah. They could open their mouth way across the street. You could hear everything they say right here, because they had that kind of resonance,
Yeah.
would just move out there. But we became great friends, Rose and I. I thought she was the most.
Yeah.
She never minced any words. She told you exactly how she felt. So did Patsy.
How about
If Patsy
Patsy?
knew you, she'd be that.
How'd you meet Patsy, and how'd you
don't-
become great friends?
Patsy lived in my hometown for years. And
That's
her-
Alexandria, Virginia?
Well, my hometown was Portsmouth, Virginia.
Okay.
And her dad worked at the shipyards there or something, and my dad worked at the shipyards. But we were entertaining all the time. Patsy was not entertaining yet. And so if I met her, I don't remember meeting her You know, I probably did because she always loved music. But I met her later on when I went to work for Red Foley in the Ozark Jubilee.
Okay.
And she came out there and we got to talking about our background and how close it was. And she was a Virginia girl. And we just became great friends. And she'd always stay with me and I've always stayed with her, and we would be on the road together, and we shared a lot, Patsy and I. And we were dearest friends. She would write me to my dearest friend. And I just had fits when all these supposed to be dearest friends wrote books about her, you know. I didn't like that at all. I'd never write a book about Patsy.
Right.
That's unkind.
Well, she went on to become a huge country artist and pop
Biggest
artist.
since she's been dead.
Yeah.
She wouldn't believe it. She'd say, she wouldn't believe it.
You mean at the time she wasn't that well known?
She was well known in the country field, but she hadn't taken off like she has since her death.
Like the song Crazy hadn't come
Crazy
out?
was out, but
I Fall to Pieces.
well, I Fall to Pieces was out. Trying to think of the
But she's just
Sweet
become
Dreams of You.
Yeah.
It's just started Sweet Dreams of You.
Walking After
And
Midnight.
that was way back there. We both recorded for 4-Star Records.
Okay.
Yeah. But Sweet Dreams just had started, and she took her manager, Randy, was the pilot for the plane. He was very careful. He was always a very careful person, and I can't understand to this day how in the world he run that small craft right into the mountain at a 75-degree angle. Running
Yeah.
right into the mountain.
That's too bad.
Unless his instruments went crazy. I don't know. But that happened, and she just was starting to call peak.
Mm-hmm.
She would not believe she's a legend, and all these Patsy Cline worshipers, you know. I would go back to her mama, and I always remained great friends. And I'd go to her home every year, and we did this Patsy Cline Foundation with her mother and her sisters. Sylvia. Sylvia's a wonderful girl. So I'd go back there and stay, work with them on that, take my groups, and then Mother died, and then the foundation fell apart. But
How about your family putting together these festivals in Virginia? It
every year
attracted a lot of big names, right? Or some names in that
we
area.
attracted the locals and the regionals, of course, but the big names that you like anyhow. You buy groups. We bought groups, those big time groups, because we thought they would help make them successful. Successful meaning getting in the black. It takes a lot of money to produce a festival. You have
Right.
to have
A
food,
profitable
you have to have
festival.
stage,
Yeah.
you have to have parking, you have to have all kinds of things. And we had all that, but we had to work at it. It took money. So we finally decided, hey, we're in the red every year, to thousands of dollars. This doesn't make any sense. We'll have a smaller festival, and they can come in the door for nothing. We'll charge them anything. They can have corn, they can have roasted pig. We have a barbecue pig, and everybody eats barbecue pig, beans, and all that stuff for free. Sit under these beautiful oak trees right over the Heron River on our farm, and hear 8 fantastic bluegrass groups. And Suzi Arden and the Darden Family are there.
Yeah.
So we have a grand time. But so far as making money in a festival, there it just
How did it make money if you gave everything away free, or did
we
it
don't
make
make money.
Oh, okay. So you do it more
We
out of the
by a
goodness
lot
of your
better-
heart.
we get by a lot better paying for
I
that than charging them and hiring some other group.
see. Okay, I see.
And the
so the
families and-
family has its own money then to do this stuff.
Of course we do. We do
Okay.
it. We do it because we love what we do. We love families. We believe in worshiping God. We believe in living and doing what is right. And we believe in family music without drugs and alcohol and all that stuff. And so that's what we have. And if you want to come to a place that's full of music and full of the Spirit, there we are.
So let's talk about how you came to Las Vegas, and when did you come to Las Vegas from Virginia?
Well, it was a trail. It was a long trail. I went to work with my sister Candy and we were working in Ohio, and Foley came through Ohio and did a concert there, and he happened to come through the club that we were working, and he saw us perform, and he invited us to come to work at the Ozark Jubilee. Well, that was in Springfield, Missouri. Now, that was as far west as I had ever been. I mean, I was an Easton girl, you know, born, raised, hand spanked, and all that stuff. Smithfield Hamder and all that stuff. And so we went to Springfield, Missouri, and worked on the Ozark Jubilee. At the time, of course, Red Foley and Rex Allen and Porter Wagoner and Wanda Jackson, and who all was lots and lots of wonderful people.
You knew all those people?
Very well.
Wow,
yeah.
Porter Wagoner.
We traveled the roads together, and yeah, we did. And trying to see, and Foggy River Boys, you remember them?
No,
they
you
were
know
the
a lot
great
more about country than I do.
gospel people. And who else? Norma Jean and
How about Johnny Cash?
Johnny. I never worked with on the. I did work with him on some of the opera things we did,
Okay.
but not ever on the Ozark Jubilee. I don't even
What
know
about
if he ever came.
What
there.
about Hank Williams?
Hank was dead before I ever got out
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
So this was in the 50s, or was it early 60s?
This was in the 50s,
Okay.
yeah. And so we worked out there, and Bob Wills, I became acquainted with Bob Wills and his wife. And Bob Wills was just a prince of a man. He just glowed around his head. He had so much knowledge about performing. And I'm young, and I want to learn. I didn't have anybody like Bob Wills instructing me. And so we'd talk, and he would say, well, Susie, he'd tell me how to handle the stage when I went out there, and how to handle the people, and how to get the most out of my musicians, and what to expect, and how much to expect, and let them know that. And then they'll come up to the bar if you do that. And what he said to me, he says, always keep it going out there, and don't ever run your mouth to hear your brains rattle. Always have something to say. And so many things. I wished I could think of some of the classic things that he told me and helped me with.
But it helped shape your wisdom.
Hey, it made all the difference in the world in me performing, because everybody in country music could grab the guitar and go out, sing the hits and sing, and that's all that was expected out of him. Not Bob Wills. He'd just grab you when he walked out on stage, and he'd walk all over that stage, and he'd let you entertain that bright old brown black eyes that he had, and he just was a real entertainer. So I learned a lot from him there. And so he called me one time, and I had gone back into Virginia, and he called me and said he needed me to come out and help him in Las Vegas. Well, my son was a baby, just an infant, so I couldn't go at that time with him. So later on, I got another call to go out there and work at the Golden Nugget for Bill Green. And he hired me there, and I took my group. We had been traveling around working all the big fairs and all the concerts and everything. All this time I'm working. I'm not idle at all. So we went out to Las Vegas and worked at the Golden Nugget, and I said, this is where I want to work. This is where I'll do really, really well, because I'm a performer. And so Bill Green, the first day he saw me, he owned the club, owned the Golden Nugget. He offered me 18 weeks to work there. That was unheard of. He offered me 18 weeks, and he said, is there anything you can't do, Susie? I did this Mama Don't Allow, and did all the instruments and everything. It was a show tune. But he was really impressed, and I was glad. And so I worked there at the Golden Nugget for quite a while. I got a call.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Just going to take a call real quick.
Howard, let me call you right back. I'm having an interview. Okay? Love you. Bye-bye. Okay. Sorry about that.
Keeping up with technology there.
Yeah, I keep it in my vault, as you see. At any rate, I love Nevada. I love to be able to perform and do everything that I do. I'd like to smile, I do a real tough arrangement of that, and they liked it, they were all just bluegrass and didn't like that. They liked all kinds of music, and that was me. I was all types of music. So that's how I first got into Nevada. Then I worked around at Harrah's. I worked for Harrah's And then I worked for the Mint Hotel. I worked Sahara Tahoe for Del Webb.
Wow.
Del Webb liked me.
Okay.
He liked my show. Now that's not just me, okay? Got to talk about the Wind Beneath My Wings. That was the group that worked for me.
Okay.
That was my fine musicians, and I've lost quite a few of them so far, but they were the best that could be had. So they made me look good all the time. But, and then Del Webb, after a few years, hired me exclusively to work at the Mint.
Okay.
And the last 5 years we worked at the Mint.
Now, was that in the
exclusively.
70s?
That was in the late 60s and the 70s.
Oh,
yes.
okay. So that's kind of was the high point of your career there, at the Mint, right?
Well, yeah, I enjoyed it because my people got to sit down. They call it a sit-down gig. They didn't have to travel, and their families, they brought their homes, and they got to sit down and live pretty normal lives. We all bought homes and lived there. It was fun.
Did you do original songs or cover songs?
I did some originals. I did a lot of covers, show songs. What you
Okay.
expect to see when you come da 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 da.
Okay.
Did a lot of that.
So it wasn't
stuff.
just country or bluegrass. It
No,
was
no.
a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of different music. My people were not limited in what they played and could play. And my drummer was one of the original Chili Peppers. You remember them? Jesse Garcia.
Of
He
the
worked
Red
on
Hot Chili
the Red
Peppers?
Hot, yeah, the old time, yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, he was one of those. And he stayed with me 16 years. That's a pretty long stay.
Yeah.
Then we left Nevada and we were going to retire, right?
Yeah.
We left Nevada and bought a club in Boise, Idaho.
Okay.
I did not want to go to Boise, Idaho. I like to live in Vegas.
Yeah.
That's where
a lot more happening in Vegas,
well, it
right?
just was my home, and
Yeah.
I loved it there.
Yeah.
So reluctantly, we moved to Boise, Idaho, and the club was a big success, and we enlarged it. We doubled the size. We could seat 700 and some people there, and it was tiered like you would in Las Vegas, like a Las Vegas lounge.
Mm-hmm.
We had a big stage, and my group worked there, and then I had other groups come in and work also. Then we worked out of there back into Nevada, and so we did that until 1979. Then we went and bought a ranch, and I moved back to Virginia.
Okay. Is that when you retired from the music business?
That's when I retired from what I call the merry-go-round. That's the big time music.
Okay.
And but I still gathered groups and worked with my family and put together Western swing things. I was just always doing that. That's what I did.
Right.
And there's so many great musicians and great singers that have never gone off and that have been in the eye of the people very much, but they work locally because
Right.
they have a family and a wife and they want to stay home.
Yeah.
They don't want to hit the road.
It's a lot of work to
Yes,
become a
lot.
star.
And you have to go to the road. You cannot not go to the road.
Yeah.
So I've come across hundreds of these fantastic talents. Here in Sacramento, many of the people that have just been locals, they go up and they play music, just knock your socks right off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of joy to meet these people
Yeah.
that could have been, but didn't want to be,
So you actually have continued to play music, and you were just performing recently here in Sacramento
I
the other
was.
night. And so tell me about that. You had told me also that you write songs, and I wondered, what kind of collection of music you've, kind of put together over the years of your own stuff.
Well, I haven't done a lot of my own stuff. I've written some stuff, but I have never recorded my own stuff.
Oh, okay.
My brother, Dan, was the great songwriter. He has to be one of the finest. He needed someone to represent it and that knew something about it. That was not me. The writing, publishing, and all that stuff is not things I care to mess with, because
Yeah.
I'm a very cut and dried person. You're right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
You're a
with me.
musician and
And
a
a
singer.
musician, yeah. But I don't do any of the shady stuff. And it seemed like it was so much of that going on when you're writing songs and
Mhm.
all of that. So I didn't enjoy it. He's dead now, but he's written some great songs. He wrote a great one for my friend Patsy and all of her friends, including Loretta Lynn and those people, She gave him money all the time. I never asked, but back to with Patsy,
Yeah.
I never asked her to record that song.
What
called
song
Magic.
was that?
It was called Magic in My Heart. It was
Okay.
written for her by my brother.
Wow.
And it was perfect for her to sing. But I felt it an imposition for me to say, Patsy, sing this. Because I'm sure she would have, you know. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody understands that.
Well, did she record it, or did she?
No, she didn't.
Oh.
She didn't record it.
Because
Everybody's biting at her heels to record. Every time they sat down with, oh, Patsy, I got the song.
Didn't
for
she
you."
like the song?
She got tired of hearing it. Yeah, she liked it very much.
why wouldn't she record it?
You know, I don't know the answer to that.
Mm.
I didn't give it to her to record. I sang it for her.
Oh, okay. So it was a personal message.
Yeah. And she did like it. And she did think she could milk it, do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Was she in control of her career, or did other people tell her what to record?
A lot of time they told her what to record. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you understand when you're singing like Patsy and you're recording like that, people they can't sit down and have a conversation with you. They gotta sit down and ask you for something. Or would you listen to this? Or would you do that?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be in that traffic.
I
So
understand.
I stayed out of that.
Yeah.
When we were together, we were together. Kids again, fun again. That's
Right.
what we did. Just like any two young girls. That's how we were.
So what's a great memory in your career that you'd like to be known for? I mean, the
I'd like to be
Rickenbackers
known-
stands out as something big in my mind, because that guitar changed the sound of music in the 60s. But was that the biggest thing in your mind that you want to be remembered for?
I wanted to be remembered as a great performer, and I was.
In Vegas?
And I'd like for people to remember that whenever I stepped on stage, no matter how I felt or what was going on in my life, I was all smiles, and I performed. I gave it my very best. Have you ever seen Elvis Presley work? Have you ever seen Barbara Mandrell? Barbara
Yeah.
Mandrell does a little Suzi Arden.
Mhm.
Just knocks her heart out, you know. And that's what I'd like to be remembered for. And I'd like to be remembered as a good person that treated my people well, that loved my people that worked for me. Because I had families, and I, of course, worried about them constantly to keep the jobs, and they also had problems. So I looked after them like a mother. That's what I did. And that's the way I'd like to be remembered, as a good person.
Well, you are a good person, Suzi. Thank you for doing this interview with me.
I enjoyed meeting you. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is Alex Cosper from playlistresearch.com, and I've been talking with Suzi Arden, a country musician from from many decades, who has lots of great music and experiences to share. Thanks again, Suzi. And
Nice to be in Sacramento.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
80 years old.
Yep.